Hello, hello, hello. I am welcoming you all into another edition of your MBAC webinar series. And I am excited, so excited to bring this information to you today. Today's session is called Profitability and Value, Achieving Business Financial Excellence. And our presenter is dynamic and powerful. I'm going to get to her introduction here in just a second. I know that many of you are new subscribers to MBAC. And just want to make sure that you know that our purpose in the community is to advance business opportunities for minority businesses. My name is Janine Hooks, and I'm happy to present myself as your business counselor. Our section is led by our director, Kimberly Gale, and our business is run, managed, and organized by the talented hands of our program administrator, Sharon Francis. What we do for you in MBAC, not only in presenting educational sessions and resources such as this, is to help you with technical assistance, one-on-one counseling, and also certification packaging assistance. So quite a few things that we can do to help you really start and grow your business. I'm also going to ask that you are an active participant, that you engage with our presenter today. That means you should be prepared to take notes. I want you to make sure that you're listening in and asking questions and chatting with us during the course of the webinar, because there's a lot of information we're going to share, and I want to make sure that you get as much of it as you can. On the other side of that, at the end of this webinar, we will make sure that the recording is available on our website. So if you can go to cul.org/MBAC and go to blogs and media, you will see our previous videos. You'll also see our previous We Care blog information. And then I'm also going to ask you, lots of things you got to do before you even see our presenter, is that you like and subscribe to our Facebook and our LinkedIn pages, where we're building our membership and hearing voices from all across the business community. So I thank you for that. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our speaker for today's workshop, Ms. Jymese Smith. She is a platinum level QB Pro advisor with over 17 years experience in accounting and finance. She has assisted hundreds of small businesses with financial understanding of their business profits and training of bookkeeping and accounting software, which is why we are all here. She has worked with JP Chase, The Ohio State University in managing federal grant funds, Squire Patton Boggs as an accounting professional for over 60 attorneys in 2 locations. She was also nominated as one of the top 2020 100 future leaders in finance. She's dynamic, she's exciting, she's real, y'all. So I just really want you to take advantage of this moment. And I hope that you bring as many people to the table to listen in on the session as possible. Without further ado, I would like to invite Jymese to come on into the screen. Let us see your beautiful face. There you are. Welcome. Hey. Welcome. And I know that this is going to be an action-packed session with a lot of information. I will help manage your chat as people have questions and are looking for information for you, so you can keep rolling. And I'm going to fade to the back so you can be center stage and take over the show.
All right, sounds good. So I want to just, let me just share my screen and kind of get ready here. And we're gonna jump right in. So again, as I was introduced, the Hope Accounting Firm, this is a webinar on value and profitability, introduction to achieving business financial excellence. And so as I was introduced so beautifully by Janine, I really appreciate it. Again, she kind of mentioned all of these things, so we really don't need to go over them, right? But what I will say is that working with the household names and businesses that I have been a part of, like JP Chase, working with their business credit card division, knowing about business and credit and how those kind of work together. And then also at The Ohio State University, managing those grant funds. Let me tell you, the federal government, if you've ever had a federal grant, you need to use every dollar that they give you. Otherwise, they will take it back. You know, they'll say, hey, you don't need this. You don't need all of this. We'll take some back. And we don't want that to happen. So being creative with maximizing our dollars as businesses is very important. Not only that, but there may be some guidelines that you have to follow within those grants or those fundings, and investors and things like that that come to the table. And so making sure that we work within those boundaries, which means we might have to get creative on some accounting, right? Which is fine. We can definitely do that. And it was a kind of a big deal because we renewed a 5-year, I think it was $1.2 million grant, but it was a big deal at the time because the university had kind of gained this grant and then lost it and then gained it and lost it. So it was a big deal to kind of get it consecutively. So we were able to work that out. So it was a big deal at that time. Working for the international firm of Squire Patton Boggs, which is here in Cleveland, Ohio, where I am, working in that location with all of those attorneys, that's a task. To be the only accounting professional in the office, quite a heavy burden, I tell you. But it was always something going on, always energy, and it's a lot that you can learn from that infrastructure, so that you know a little bit about me. And then, of course, being nominated is a big thing, right? I definitely appreciated the nomination and learning that. So to jump right in, we're going to talk about value and profitability. And to talk about it, we need to talk about the value that sits there with defining these words, right? What are we really talking about? Well, talking about value, the value just means the importance of something, right? How much is it worth? Is it really useful? Is it valuable to me, right? And usually we're talking about monetarily. So building the value into the monetary basis of your business, what you're looking to accomplish and what that business now is worth, and then what you want it to be worth and where you're trying to get to in the future. We also have to then define profitability. What does it mean to be profitable? It means to make money, right? Not only to make money, but to make a profit, to make sure that it's rewarding and lucrative for those involved and the investors and the owners or partners that are there, to make sure that that business is financially successful and to be in the black, really, at the end of the day. And in the black is a term that's used. We all know about Black Friday, the businesses that open early, stay open late, put all these discounts out there to draw the people in. And sometimes that's the day of the year that most businesses, even big box businesses, break even. Not just that day or that week or that month, but for the year. It's a big deal. That's why they've added all kinds of other additives like Cyber Monday and things like that. But then how do we take that same concept of profitability and then pack it into your business and make it happen for you? And that's what we're here to talk about, and how we look at that value and profitability and where they meet and how we understand it as a whole. So when talking about value in your business, we can't talk about it. We're talking about the things that take up the most time in your business. What do you do the most? What are the things that take up the most time? Well, one of the things in your business that take up the most time, I guarantee, is you, right? You have the products, you have the service, you put together a product that you believe is amazing, it's better than the last one. You put together a service that's absolutely exceptional, and you want to put it out to the masses. So working on that product or service, building the value into that, that's important. Even though we may not think of it that way, it really is. So if we think of like a bag of chips at a retail store, that has a certain value. But if we also think of a different industry, like manufacturing tires or something like that, is different value, but same importance to each business respectively, right? So we definitely have to focus on that product or service. We also want to talk about marketing and advertising. How are we valuing what we put out there to the world so that we get back what we actually want out of the business? So when we talk about that, the value of making sure that your brand is on point, marketing and advertising, what is the kind of personality and message that we're putting together for the business to push it out there, right? And we obviously can't talk about business without talking about the money, right? We have to talk about the money. It's the most important and most regulated part of the business. And some business owners are like, what do you mean it's the most regulated? I've never heard that. But it is. Nobody put regulations on necessarily like your product or service. Nobody told you or put regulations on the advertising or marketing that you can do for the business. But the finances, that's where we have to stop and take a moment to think about what are we doing and how are these finances put together. For instance, Most small businesses don't visit the IRS website. I know when my clients come to me, they're like, Jymese, they are speaking French and I don't speak French, you know, and they call me and they're like, I sat on the phone for 45 minutes and they still spoke French on the phone, but I know that I was speaking English and I still don't understand what they're saying. So that's important to have someone maybe in your corner, a bookkeeper, an accountant, a CPA, an advisor that can translate that message for you so that you know exactly what you're doing, what we should be doing, how we should be lining up according to the regulations of the IRS, because they just expect you to know. And I know that you don't visit the site on a regular basis, but it is very important that you have your business together from day one. And so when I say that, it makes me think about a client that I had that came to me and they're like, but I haven't made any money yet. I haven't made my first dollar. And my response is, it doesn't matter. The IRS doesn't care if you made your first dollar. If you're going to write things off and file it on your taxes, they're going to want to know how you tracked your expenses. They're going to want to know where it came from. They're going to want to see it in black and white. And so making sure that we cover these things and build in how important finances are and the value of that is definitely important for the business, right? So now that we've kind of talked about value, we also want to talk about the profitability of the business, right? And the point of the business is to make a profit, right? To get something out of this thing that we put all this time and energy into. We definitely don't want to take a loss. So we want to make sure that we're achieving financial gains, goals, the outcomes that we set out to reach. And most of the time out of the gate, we're not doing that. Sometimes 2 years, 5 years, 10 years in, we're still not there yet. We're not where we want to be. So how do we make that happen? And not only just on a day-to-day basis or a week-to-week basis, but on a month-to-month and regular ongoing basis. How do we look at profitability? How are we building it into our bottom line? And that's one thing that we want to talk about is just the importance of the profitability. Plain and simple, it's the primary goal of going into business. We all want to make money in business, and that's just the way it goes. But with making money, we're looking at profitability. We're going to have maybe financing that we're going after, right? Loans, all these loans out here, especially from COVID. How do we look at that? Do we have our financials together? What does that mean? Exactly what do I need to have? You need to have your profit and loss statements. You need to have your balance sheets. You probably need a debt statement or a personal financial statement. Do you have those things together? Maybe, maybe not. Most businesses I meet with, they don't have it together, and that's okay. And we can work on getting it together so that we know exactly what the business is doing, that the numbers match up, that we are attracting investors to come in who want to be a part of what we're doing and invest in what we're doing, maybe make our product better because we found out some new technology, maybe make our service better because we know what the customers are expecting from us. We need to fund this operation. We need to talk about growth, right? We didn't go in it to stay at the bottom. We got into it to be at the top. And so sometimes though, we need to also talk about profitability because we just need to like stay in business. And that happens during COVID. A lot of businesses are like, I just want to keep my doors open. And that's real and that's understandable. And we definitely can have the conversation about what that looks like in your bottom line as far as how do we make the most out of where we are, at least hold steady, right? So that when we hold steady enough, maybe this thing will actually turn up so that we can get out of the business what we put into it, which is really important. And lastly, just being efficient as a shareholder, because you matter as a shareholder, as the only owner of your business. If you're a single member, if you have partners, investors, and all that type of thing, we want to make sure that we're getting the most out of anything that we're doing so that it maximizes the shareholder investments. That's very important at the end of the day because we all want a return on our money. So when we talk about profitability, I have businesses that go out on Google and Yahoo and Bing and they search all of these things about how do I build profitability? What do I need to do? And they come up with the top 5 and the top 10 and top 8 or whatever it is. And that's fine. I've compiled a list here. And the point is that we can't do the majority of these things without touching our financial information. That's how important it is to our business. Oh, out of this list of 24 things that I found to be the top things, we can't do over 65% of them without touching the financial information of the business. It's a big deal. So we want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can. And if we don't know how to do it, finding somebody who does, a bookkeeper, accountant, advisor, to help us do it so that we can take our business to the next level. And that's really what it's all about. So I have a question for you. My question to small businesses are always, how important in your eyes is the financial part of your business? Because I've had a business come to me before and they were 2 years into their business. And they said, Jymese, we're a mess. We need your help. And I'm like, great, let's sit down, let's talk about it. I come in this nice room, nice rehab room. They had a very nice building and a conference room, and they slide like 3 papers across the table. And I was like, great, what am I looking at? And they're like, that's all of our financial information. And I said, it's not possible. You've been in business for 2 years. How is this all the financial information that you have? And they said, well, what happened is we had an investor at the beginning, a partner, who then dropped out of the business, and they were responsible for all the financial stuff. So this is all we have left. And I was like, we need that information. They were like, it's not possible. I said, then how do we write off all of the information and everything we bought with the loan, including the rehab facility that we were sitting in that cost them 6 figures worth of money to do, and we don't have the financials? Even if you know them in your head, they need to be down somewhere. They need to be tracked. There needs to be a system of how you spent your money, where it's going, where you spent it, who was paid. All of that is very important. So when we talk about it in your eyes for most startups, they might say, I haven't spent my first dollar. So it may not be most important. It may be just slightly important. I know it's important, but it's over there, And then some businesses are like, listen, I'm pulling my hair out over here. I know that it's important. It's over here on the extreme level. I get it. And so with that, I'm saying, what is your business monthly revenue? What does your business bring in every month on average? Okay, so when you think of that number, it might be 0, it could be 2,000, 5,000, 10, 15, 20, I don't know. You know that. So after you have that number, my next question would be, well, how much do you pay per month for your financial advisor? And I get businesses say, oh, I have a bookkeeper. I pay $150 a month. I pay $200 a month for my accounting. I got it. We got it. And I say, okay, that's great. So if you're bringing in $10,000 a month and you're paying $200 a month for bookkeeping service, then my question becomes, is that how much you value the most vital, most important, and most regulated part of your business? Food for thought, right? We can't value, as accountants, we can't value the business more than you. We can't invest more than you did, right? So if you value your business at $200 a month, you're going to get $200 service. And it's not a shot at anybody, right? I'm not knocking any bookkeeper or CPA, whatever you pay, but that is going to be the limit of what you pay. If you walk into your CPA's office and say, hey, we need to get together. We need to talk about my value, my profitability. I need all these reports. The lady said I need balance sheets. I need all this stuff. I need to get my loan together. You need to help me at all. I need to put it all together. And they're gonna say, okay, so that costs, and they're gonna give you a number. You're gonna say, yeah, so I'm not really ready for that. And that's okay. But the point is that we can't value more than you. So if you're paying for $200 a month, and that's the service that you're paying for, then how much can your financial advisor really value your business when you only pay $100 or $200 a month? They'll give you reports because that's the normal exchange, right? You give me bank statements, I give you reports, and we do this song and dance, and it's the same old song, and that's great. You have your financials. But I had a gentleman walk into my office one day and he said, Jymese, I'm concerned about my taxes. Look at them for me. And when I looked at them, I poked holes in his tax return, about 5 to 10 holes in his tax return within like 30 seconds of looking at it. And he's like, well, hold on now. That's the professional did these. I paid for these. And I told him, I said, I looked at the bottom of his thing and I said, it says self-prepared on here. So there's just little things as an advisor that you need to be aware of and know. A tax preparer has a number, and they will always sign the bottom of the returns that they do, and they'll put their business that they have a business. Self-prepared, I don't know who you went to, sir, but this is not quite right. So we need to be aware that the people that we're engaging with financially about our money and our finances and our taxes, they need to be as invested as you are in your business. They need to care like it's their business. I talk to my clients and I find myself saying, well, when we do this and when we get this loan for the money, how are we going to budget? How are we? Because I want them to know that I'm vested. I'm here with you. I'm in the trenches. We're both dirty. We're both getting in here and we're both making it happen. Okay. And so I want to share some thoughts with you on what advisors should bring to the table. So having an advisor will help you define what you want out of your business and then assist you in achieving those goals. Right. And they're going to do it in a wide range of options and services that they may provide. So they're going to help increase profitability through the processes of putting things together. Remember, I said the IRS requires us to have some processes in place. So they're going to probably help improve that process. They're going to fine tune some things in regards to your plan, whether that be your business plan or your financial plan. They'll help in finding and securing outside investments. They'll help you with your reporting, and they'll help you understand the reports so that you can be like I did when I look at the reports and I'm like, no, this isn't right. We spent too much here. Why did we do this month? What happened? And you can understand what happened in your business to cause these things to happen. You should be able to poke holes in your return, just like I poked holes in the tax return, right? Because it's your business. You need to be more aware. And your advisor or whoever your financial person is should be able to show you how to do that. So that way, when you poke holes the next month, now you have a better plan and you can reinforce what you've done. And then you can continue to do that. And eventually, your process is so sound that you'll be able to make sound decisions immediately. Oh no, we did that this month. That's it. Because if I ask you, I want to know so you can explain it to me. Because if the men in black, aka the IRS, come to the door, we need to be able to explain it to them and say, oh no, this is what happened. And if you're educated enough, you can explain it, or you'll be looking at me like, Jymese, could you explain? And I'm gonna say, I don't have the information. And we don't want that to happen. We want to be knowledgeable about this thing. So they'll help with reporting, with decision making. They'll help with even, it doesn't seem like job management, but they can help with job management and salaries and reporting and what that all looks like, right? Because when we engage in payroll, we also have taxes. We also have service fees. We have unemployment. We have workers' comp. We have all of these things that when you think about payroll, you're just thinking about paying the people. But as a professional, I can tell you there's more than paying for just the people's wages. There's some extra things that get put in there. We can talk about rewarding and staff performance, how that looks, your long range business plan, maintaining a lifestyle business, and that just means the brand of your business. So like Wendy's does a good job on like Instagram or Twitter. They do jokes and they're sarcastic and they put it out. We're the best. You do not equate yourself to us because we are the best. You're mediocre over there. And they give that and they build a personality around their business. And then you're like, Wendy's is kind of dope. I think I like Wendy's and their personality, the lifestyle of Wendy's, their brand, what they're putting together. Then you can kind of put together an advisor that'll help you do that. Succession planning. How do I pass this on to my family, or how do I put in place key staff so that if I need time away or a vacation or something happens or I want to retire, what does that look like? What does that financially look like for you and for your business? And then valuing the business. What is the worth of your business so that you can then build in some asset protection? You can build in the investors or the sale of your business. Like when you're ready to go out and you're just like, I'm just going to sell it. I just am going to be done. These are the things that advisors can do. So building that financial team is important. Whether you're paying for it, whether you find it in a mentor or however you do it, it just needs to be done. It's very important and very critical to the life of a business. There are a lot of businesses in the US. I think there's 30 million small businesses. And 72% or about 70% are changing their CPA and accounting firms. That's over like 20 million businesses. What? Why are we changing hands like that? Why are so many keep changing hands? Well, they're saying that they don't get proactive service, they get reactive service. But what I hear from businesses is, I feel like a number. I don't know what's happening, and I'm not getting the information. I get these reports and bank statements and reports, and they're doing that song and dance, and then they're like, but I need more than the song and dance. It's getting old, and I don't feel like I really even know my business. I have these reports, I don't know how to read them. I don't know how to advance my business with this information. I need somebody who's going to be proactive in giving me information. When I talk to my clients, I tell them like, hey, we just did this, and because we did this change, you might get a letter. When you get the letter, call me. And that way, when they get the letter, they're not pulling their hair out and freaking out. They're saying, Jymese, I got the letter. Let's do it. I'm ready. You know, instead of calling me like, Jymese, I don't know what's happening. I'm losing it over here. I'm freaking out. Do you see what this says? They said I owe them all this money. I can't do it. I don't have that money. What do I need to do? And really, we could have been very simply proactive at getting it done and making it happen without that happening. And there's a lot of people who are experiencing that as small businesses. We don't want you to experience that. We want you to be better and do better and have a better team around you for that. And just demanding more from the current relationship that you do have. And we have these big back stores who have these chief financial officers, right? And they're, they have their suits and their briefcases, and you're like, I can't afford that guy. Look, he's that's too much. He looks like too much. He costs too much just looking at him, right? So, but what happens is with advisors and accountants, you can get that same amount of value for a growing business, right? They can provide the same tactical, strategic advice to help you forecast financial performances and give you visibility over these levers or shifts or transitions that you'll go through as a business to improve that profitability in the midst, which then improves the value, the shareholder value, right? Even if you're the party of one, it still improves your value as an owner. And so when we talk about, again, accountants and value, it's like asking it's like asking how to build value to the central nervous system in reference to the body, right? Using the human body as an analogy for business, accounting provides accurate feedback on what parts of the body are warm, which ones are cold, which have poor circulation, what is feeling pain, when we're feeling good, if we're in pain in multiple places, what do we deal with first, prioritizing these issues, and then figuring out how to make it happen. And even if you have, it's like going to the doctor for a pain, right? If you go to the doctor and you're like, doc, my back, it's hurting, I can't move, I barely can do anything and bend over, they're gonna say, thank you, I'm gonna take a look, but this is beyond me. I'm gonna refer you to a specialist, right? The chiropractor who can see what's going on here and make a better assessment than what I can. That's what a team of advisors can do for each other, right? We can advise each other and then send you to the specialist that can take care of that. I don't do marketing, but I know a specialist who does, right? And vice versa. And so that we can get that business value up so that we know what's going on and how to better fix it and tweak it and make it work for our business. And us as accountants, we're very much dependent on by small businesses, right? Because we do deal with the money, which is pretty important, right? So, but we're failing to capitalize on those relationships, which means your current bookkeeper or advisor, if they haven't asked you about them helping you or advising you or taking your business to the next level, most of them are just busy in the song and dance of bank statements and reports. But they should have been asking, how's business? How's it going? Do you need to have a conversation about that? Let's take a look at it. Let's see what we can do. Or you're going after a loan? Let's take a look at that. What do you need? Let's put it together. I have a client that calls me about everything. He's, hey, Jymese, I'm going to buy a new car. What do I get? And I have information for that. And you wouldn't think to call your accountant necessarily to buy a new car for your personal life, but it could be. I could tell you some things if you were going to buy an electric car or a certain type of car or a truck or something like that. There's information that I have in the tax codes on the IRS site that's in French, right, that you might need to have, that you might need to know. And so making sure that we have that conversation and that we're unfolding that conversation to say, I need more than just the bank statements and reports. These are the types of things that can build value in your business, because who knows, your personal vehicle, you're most likely using it for business. And so we're writing off mileage, but we might be able to write off some other things in regards to that vehicle, just depending on what happens and other things that happen in your life. We might be able to deduct as well. We just need to make sure that you have someone in your circle and in your corner that you can have that conversation with. Because if you don't, then we have to talk about calculating the value of the unknown, because we don't know what we don't know sometimes. So again, I'm going to ask a couple questions. What's the average monthly revenue over the last year? Well, I made about $3,000 a month, or $8,000 a month, or $12,000 a month, right? And when you have that number, I'm going to say, where would you like to be on the other side? What is your goal? Where would you like to be earning a month? Well, I'm at 10, I would like to be at 15. I'm at 5, I would like to be at 8. I'm at 15, I would like to be at 22 or whatever, right? So my next thing is like, take that goal income, right? That 15,000 and minus where you currently are at 10,000. Well, we're at a $5,000 difference. If you're stuck in your business, if you're not getting what you need out of your relationship, this is how much you're spending and not knowing in your proper financial guidance. It's what you're going to bump your head against the wall trying to figure out, like what we would know as a school of hard knocks, or as I heard someone say, the university of not knowing. This is the tuition that we pay, right? That's a lot of tuition. $5,000 a month for me not knowing what I don't know. I need to get somebody in here to tell me something. Somebody better tell me something. I'm missing $60,000 a year trying to get to my goal, and I'm bumping my head because I can't get it all to fit. It doesn't quite fit together. I need somebody to tell me how to do this thing, to help me, to hold my hand and to walk me through so I can be on it. I can be with it. I can get my business to that next level. And so what I ask is, how much is it worth to you to know how to save money, to spend efficiently, to implement a financial strategy to move your business from A to B? That isn't going to cost you $5,000 a month. It's the $5,000 of what you're paying and not knowing, but you don't have to hire somebody and pay them that $5,000 a month. But I do know people that are in business that are with advisors that are costing them $10,000 just for 3 to 6 months of advising to get the business on track. Is it worth it? I would say that it's worth it. I'm missing the goal of getting the $60,000 and I have to sacrifice 10. Yeah, that's worth it. I'll take 50,000, or getting from 5 to 8, or from 15 to 20, or whatever your goal is versus where you are. Maybe you want to double the income. Well, then that's even a bigger gap. And so we want to know, how much are you willing to give into building the business, the value. What do you see your business, is that really the value you want to pay somebody? Are they worth $10,000 to get your business to the next level? Food for thought, right? So our focus in having this conversation is, one, to give you those questions that will help you think and understand what affects the bottom line of your business. All decisions in business reflect in the business, right? And sometimes our personal decisions over here outside somewhere affect the business, right? Because if we have to go for surgery, we have made the decision that we're going to have a surgery that the doctor told us that we should have. Well, that affects the business, because now I can't be in the office to do what I normally would do and keep it running. So we have to have a conversation. And we want to assist you in how to read how to understand and to take action on these financial reports that I keep talking about. Your profit and loss, your balance sheet. What do those reports mean, and what's reflected on these reports, and how do I get them to make the most out of my business, right? We at our firm actively work with you to build a solid financial foundation of understanding your business. This is why they ask for that. And so now you understand, and this is the report, this is what's on the report, this is how you read the report, this is how you use the report, right? And also to get the most out of your financial relationships. I have a bookkeeper, but all they do is process all day. Well, let's get the bookkeeper into the relationship, and let's build that financial relationship so we can get the most out of that. We want to help advance your business through driving it forward, through the strategies that we can help implement to maximize these profits, maximize the money in the business, right? To take it to that next level where you're trying to go. So we've put together a program called the Profitable Excellence Program, okay? In this program, we do a small business assessment. That assessment, we're going to go through your business. We're going to talk about the systems you have in place, or maybe not, and what we need to do to put them in place, what we should be looking at, the options that we have. We're going to talk about all of that in the assessment. Okay, we're also going to touch on the personal financial analysis, because if you're an owner like myself, you know that the business has a great effect on what we bring home, right? So we're also going to talk about the personal financial analysis. And then we're going to do an 8-week financial deep dive in the business. We're going to review where you are. We're going to talk about where you want to go, that goal income, right? We're going to talk about that versus the financial reports. Realistically, what are these reports telling us that we can do? Where are we at with it? And then the goals. And then we're going to talk about the performance of the business, role in the assessment. How do we overcome these performance indicators that we need to talk about and address, and then how to we get the most out of these relationships, and we're going to tweak it and we're going to put it all together like a puzzle, right? We're going to offer you a business evaluation so that you can know the value of your business, okay? So that you can know, like, my business is worth X amount of money. So if you were to ever sell or ever sit back or ever, you're like, man, I did a good job. My business is worth more than I thought, you know, or my personal financial analysis, hey, I'm doing pretty darn good. But how do we know the picture if we've never looked at it? We need to look at it and make sure that we know where we are so that we can know where we're going. So that means that we're going to put together a forward motion plan for your business. How do we get from A to B? After we've done all the work, we take this deep dive and we put this all together. How do we get over here to the end of the goal where we want to be? And so for attending the webinar today, I am going to offer, if you sign up for the program, a free small business assessment and a free personal financial analysis. Just these two things alone are valued at over $2,000, $3,000. I assure you, right? So with the program, we are going to talk about, you know, why we're doing it. Jymese, I get that question like, well, why would you start a program? Why are you doing this? Listen, this year I've gotten more calls, you know, because of COVID also, but I've gotten more calls with people just saying, you know, Jymese, I need more than just reports. And I've heard that that's been the common thread for the 10 years that I've been in the industry, over 10 years. And I've talked to thousands of business owners, and they all say the same thing. I need more than this. I need more than feeling like a number. They don't answer my calls. They're not responding. They're always behind. They're always late, 2 months behind. I've never seen a report, or whatever the case may be. Listen, the U.S. has over 30 million businesses, small businesses, and we make up all but 100% of all the businesses in the United States. Small business is what drives the economy. And we can, with all these businesses out here, we need the proper financial guidance. We need to know what we're looking at and where we want to go. And then we need to put it in motion to get there, right? but we're suffering this year. COVID knocked the wind out of a lot of us. And so we need to know how do I come out of the lull and begin to go back on the incline, or just either come out of it and just break even for now until I'm able to really excel this thing, you know? And so small businesses, you might want our help to implement your financial fitness plan to make you bigger, better, stronger than you were yesterday, so you can withstand and outlast the COVID, right? That's like, to me, that'd be dope. Like, I outlasted COVID. I need a t-shirt. I need to make a t-shirt. Like, my business outlasted COVID, you know, because that's like a big thing right now, right? And if you need that help, and if that's you, we can help. We definitely can have a conversation. No, that's not a problem. If it's not you, that's okay too. If you're just here to get the information, to listen to the sound of my voice, I appreciate it. But, you know, we also want to help you in any way that we can, right? Whether it be a strategy, reports, going after funding and loans, we're here for it. We can definitely help with what you want to do. And so I want to offer you something else. I want to offer you a free Profitable Excellence Pro Strategy session. And these appointments, they fill up every time you do it. They fill up. There's a website. It's www.hopeaccountingfirm.com/pep. And use the code, because these strategy sessions, they usually cost. So I'm giving you kind of a coupon, a freebie, right? So use the code ULCOL2020, and then you can book your free pro strategy session. Okay. And lastly, I'm just going to kind of go over who it's for, because we want to make sure that we're not wasting your time in attending a session that you're not really going to be interested in. So I'm just going to say that this is for business owners who actually want help, right? You like, I'm tired of pulling my hair out. I don't have any left. I've cut it all off and I'm ready to like move forward, right? You must desire better results. Like, hey, I want that. I want to move my business forward. I have a desire to get better results and to make this thing go. I want to hit the ground running. I want to like shock this thing and get the heartbeat pumping. I want that to happen. And you must be open-minded and coachable, because when we are learning something, we want to make sure that we absorb it all, that we get as much as we can get from the experience. So being open-minded, being coachable, that's important. And we want to make sure that we're on the same page with that. Listen, you have to be the owner, a partner, a key business person. We want to talk to the person that can make the decisions in driving the business, right? So you have to be that person. And then lastly, just willing to have a real conversation. I'm an animated person, as you can probably tell. I talk with my hands a lot. But when it comes to these numbers, we have to be as real as we can be, because that's where everything sits. And that's really what's important to the small businesses that I talk to when we have these kind of conversations. Being real and being open. I have a lot of small businesses, they come in my office and they do this, and their financial information and folders are here. And I'm like, okay, I need to see your folder with your taxes in it. And they pull out one piece of paper and they hand it over. And then they're like safeguarding the rest, like they don't want to give it to me. But listen, in order to have this and walk through this process and assist your business in getting it where you want it to go, we have to have the real conversation. Lay it all on the table. Let's see about it. I'm not going to judge anybody. I've seen after 17 years in businesses and major businesses and firms and all that type of thing, I've seen it all. And I just want to have a real candid conversation with you about where your business is and how I can help you to get where you're going. And so I appreciate you guys' time today. And I just want to put back on the screen, just to make sure that you think about the Profitable Excellence Program. You're getting a free small business assessment. You're going to get a free personal financial analysis and a strategy session, all for free. I mean, who doesn't like free? I love free, and I do money, right? It's good for the bottom line, right? Zero is always good for the bottom line. So make sure you book your consult. For more information about my firm, you can go to www.hopeaccountingfirm.com. We can do email at contact@hopeaccountingfirm, or you can call us at 216-213-4592. Thank you, guys.
Jymese, oh my goodness. That was just so powerful. I took notes on everything you tried to say, even though I'm recording.
Good job.
This is so necessary. Listen, there's a proverb out there that planning and preparation will not spoil the trip, right?
Yes. Yes.
And in my role as a business counselor, I spend a lot of time talking to businesses about getting ready, getting the certain key aspects of your business, bringing your team together, the legal, the marketing, the accounting, and the financial, so that you have that professional expertise so you can still stay connected to the thing that makes you happy, your passion, the reason that you're in business. But if
Yes.
you don't manage the things of being in business, you will not end up doing your passion, the thing you love to do, the thing that makes you happy. So it's so important that we embrace this opportunity to take advantage of the it's just so gracious of you to have these types of services available at our fingertips, where you're willing to say, oh, I'm going to partner with you and give you some free stuff, some free counseling, some free information, so that you understand the value that I can bring to your business team. So that's so very important, and I appreciate that. I have a couple questions. I haven't seen any
Sure.
chat, and we have a very shy crowd today, but I am not shy. So let me nice. Let's see here. What if I'm a cash business and I haven't tracked monthly revenue over the last year? Where would you tell me to start?
I would tell you to go back and just think about, if you're a cash business, did you give receipts? If you did, then we need to go back and revisit those. I know some businesses, they go to like the dollar store or Staples or Walmart and buy those books with the receipts in them that you can tear out and give. We
Mhm.
need those. We need any receipts or any proof of income. And if you really know your numbers, then you can write them down. But it's like the last resort. We don't want to like, go forward and like, well, I made about 1,000. I made about this much. I made about 800 last month. We want to know the numbers for sure, because round numbers. It's my little secret to you guys. Round numbers flag the IRS.
The Men in Black. I was
Yes.
the Men in Black. Yeah, we don't like the Men in Black.
No, we don't want them to knock on our doors for sure.
Not at all. But I think a lot of businesses, their eyes were kind of opened when COVID hit, and opportunities were there, right, to go after grants or after loans. And we
Yes.
were ready. We didn't
Yes.
have our documents in place.
Right.
Kind of caught off guard, and we're trying to prevent businesses from being in that position. Um, So, that's another good reason why we keep presenting information on the financial aspects of business. You got to know your cash flow, your balance sheet, your profit and loss, work those in. That's even part of becoming a minority business enterprise certification. You need that documentation to support that. I also work with quite a few ideation or new businesses, right? I'm just getting started. I'm so excited about my business. I've got my LLC fresh from the mail and I'm ready to go, right?
Right.
What type of documents do I need? What type of financial forecasting can you as a professional help me with in getting that business off the ground and being able to walk into a bank?
So, what I do with small businesses or startup small businesses is, if you have any cash flow, then we can base it kind of off of that and forecast the business. So even if you're only making 50 bucks a day, 100 bucks a day, or something like that, then we can take that and we break it down even further. I would ask a question like, I asked one of my businesses last week when I was doing a strategy session. I said, how much do you charge for your service or your product? And then how many times a day does that happen? If you're a service, you can only provide, it's only so many hours in a workday. Take that and we multiply it by the amount of times that we can do that in a day. Maybe it's 3 or 4 times. So we take the amount that you would charge, let's say 100, and we multiply it by that 4 a day. Now we know we can make about 400 a day. Well, how many times a week are we going to do that service? Are you full time? Are you doing it 5 days a week? You're only doing it a couple times a week? Then that 400 times 2 is 800 for that week. Now we have a weekly forecast. Now we can build out a monthly forecast. That's just the income side. We can do that with quotes. If we're looking at expenses, we know about how much phones cost or internet costs and stuff like that. So there's some things that we can definitely put together to be able to put together a forecast that a bank would want for a business that doesn't really have much, or even is relatively new.
Okay. And are you familiar? I'm sure you are. There's a ton of new grant opportunities that have come up, especially with recovery funds. What type of financial statements are grantees looking for as supporting documentation? Have you seen anything?
Most banks and loan originators are looking for, of course, your profit and loss. They want to know your income. They want to know
Mhm.
your expenses. And sometimes they ask for, specifically for COVID, they want to see two different points in time. So they may
Mhm.
say, send me January 2020 before COVID, BC, before COVID, right? And then they're going to say, send me April when we were shut down and didn't have anything going on. They want to see if you were really affected. And not only that, but then how do you plan on use? They also want to see like a forecast from there. Like, how do you really want to see use this money that we're going to give you to put yourself back on track,
Okay.
to get yourself out this limbo. But the profit and loss is the biggest thing. Multiple usually of them. Balance sheets can come into question because balance sheets show us the liabilities and the assets that the business has. So that if you don't have the strength of the income, sometimes you'll have it on the balance sheet because you have some assets that work in your favor. So having those types of things are usually the main documents that they ask for, along with personal financial statements, along with um, what is it, your debt schedules and things like that. What do you have out here? What liabilities do you have, personally and through your business? They wanna know it all. They want to be in your business.
I'm so glad you said that because I think a lot of us start a business without understanding that our personal financials will be leveraged in terms of our opportunity to get funds, whether it's grants or loans or what that looks like. So I'm glad you said that because I feel like I say that all by myself. So,
No, you don't say it all by yourself. I'm over here with my sign like, hey, we got to get these reports. We need all of the reports, not just one type of report. And I do have clients that they just want a profit and loss report. Like, oh no, I just need the profit and loss. And I'm like, no, we need more than that because in 6 months or a year or whenever you're going to come back and you're going to say, so Jymese, I do need those other reports. And I'm going to be asking you questions along the way to help kind of gather as much information I can for those reports. So I'm already kind of ready for when you come back and ask for them.
awesome. And do you ever consider business plans when you're helping a startup or a growing business with their financials?
It depends on where they are. I'm very cognizant of the relationships that people have. I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes. So if they're already working with an organization or a CPA or an accountant that is helping them with the plan, then I'll do the financial piece. I'll
Mhm.
focus in on that piece. But if they come to me and they're like, I don't have any of it, then we can have obviously a more full conversation about the plan. And I still might refer, because again, I'm not the
Right.
specialist in some of it, right? I'm like, hey, I do the financial part. I can help you with some of the other aspects. Now we're gonna send you to a specialist.
Right. And that's how I would like for us to be able to partner together is we may focus quite a bit on a startup business plan or strengthening a new innovation in terms of planning. Again, I'm a strategist, so I'm thinking if you don't plan for it, then you're planning to fail. So let's get some things documented and kind of archived in our minds on where we want to go. But when it comes to those numbers, I want somebody that has a numbers mind and is oriented in that to be able to review that because I think when they get to the lenders most often or funders are looking for a reason to exclude them versus include them. So understand
Right.
we've got all of those things buttoned up. We actually have a couple of questions, so I'm so excited. Let's see here.
Okay.
If you're using QuickBooks to track your business, do you offer services to review and critique, or do you offer QuickBooks training?
Yes, I offer both. So I do trainings. If you go to the website, you can book a QuickBooks training, a one-on-one training. And so I do offer those. There are times where I do group trainings that are more general, but I do find that people like customized because they want to ask specific questions. I also offer like QuickBooks cleanup or accounting cleanup as well. So if you've been doing it yourself and you're like, I don't know if I did it right. I don't know if it's in here correctly. All I did was sync my bank account. I get that a lot. You know, I signed up and I synced my account, but I don't know what I'm doing beyond that. You know, then we can definitely go in there and ask questions and get it cleaned up. Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. Another question. I have a business that's been totally affected by COVID to the complete point of a complete standstill, a school transportation business. By the grace of God, I was able to finance myself so I don't have any reoccurring bills. Okay. So it would be safe to say I should leave the business account as is and find a job until it's safe to operate safely and a larger number. So it's that quandary, right? We're in this dilemma where I couldn't maintain the business. Emergency funding didn't come through. I bootstrapped it on my own. Should I go back to work? What does that look like? What are kind of the accounting recommendations? What's that sound like?
So there will be a couple things that I would ask to in consideration before I really give an answer. One would be, is the business able to sustain on its own? Meaning your transportation business, is it dependent on you driving? And if it's dependent on you driving, would you be able to hire someone else to drive while you go work? Is that an option even for you? That's something to think about. It is a realistic, we do come to terms as businesses to say, you know what, I got to go back to work until this thing pans out, and that's a tough decision. We would want to dig into the financials to see where the business is specifically, because it could have been at a standstill for a few months. We know kids aren't really going to school. Mine is virtual at home, and so there's no need for a busser to take her anywhere. She's at home, but other parents, not so much. Some are still hybrids, and then some still work. They still need their kids to go to daycare. So looking at all points of the business and then making a sound decision based on the strategy, what we can know and learn from what's going on, and then financially, what can we figure out? Is it really realistic to say, yeah, we might have to put this on ice until we have some more money that's able to fund it, or until schools go back? Or is there a way that we can figure it out and maybe sustain for another few months until we really get this thing figured out, and we chug along at it, and then boom, and all of a sudden something happens, the ice breaks, and then the water begins to flow. So there's definitely some considerations that I would look at first before considering all of that, or maybe stopping it altogether.
Right, and I agree with you. So many times when we have the shock like COVID, and things kind of get interrupted immediately, it's hard for our minds to shift into another gear. And speaking with a professional or a counselor, or just getting out of our own head and help us walk through, what some of those options could be, is a great value. Because like you said, there may be opportunities that you haven't considered, or ways to pivot your business where you can actually have a stream of revenue that was greater than the one that you had before COVID. I've seen situations. So yeah, I would say to the writer of that question, make sure that you reach out to MBAC as your local service, and Jymese as well, to help you kind of sort that out on the financial side. Another question is, as a sole proprietor that does ride share and delivery, I work off contracts with different businesses. Is it better to set up an LLC? And would you suggest hiring a bookkeeper?
Yes and yes. So if you're doing, because what's going to happen, and I'm familiar with some ride share, some people form business. If you're doing it on a regular occurrence where you're making a good amount of money, this is your income, then yes, I will form an LLC, because what that does is it allows you to write off a little bit more than normal as an individual. Because as an individual, you'll get a 1099, and then you'll claim that, and you haven't paid any taxes. So now it's gonna, you're gonna probably owe, you might owe if you don't work a W-2 job where you've paid in the taxes. It all varies. But if this is your primary source of income, I would just say that, yeah, you would want to form an LLC. There are some benefits, liability wise,
Mhm.
that help safeguard you,
Yeah.
as well as some expenses that you get to write off as a business that we can definitely talk about. I probably will be scheduling a tax seminar soon, even though tax season isn't necessarily here. It definitely affects our decisions and how we move forward as a business. So I'll be scheduling one probably in the next month. When talking about starting up a new business or LLC, there's a lot to consider. So definitely making sure that, yes, I would definitely hire a bookkeeper as well, because they'll help you with setting up that business properly, what to look out for, how to move. Like, for instance, I tell my clients how to set up bank accounts. Like, I'm like, you need 2 checking accounts. And I say that on purpose, because we have fraud out here. We have different things happening. And so just how to structure the business from day one so that we don't have to go back and restructure later.
I love it. I love it. Well, gang, we could sit here and chat and talk for a lot longer, but our time is up, and I appreciate your time and the value that you brought to all of us this afternoon.
Or
I appreciate the gracious offer. And if y'all don't take advantage of the coupon and the free services, Jymese, I will figure out how to work out a deal, and I'm going to get all the goodies. I will do that, I promise you. But I thank the audience for registering and signing in. Stay tuned, because we will have an evaluation immediately after we log out of this workshop. So please complete that for us. That helps inform us so that we provide you with excellent customer service going forward. And Jymese, if you could hear it, I'm just giving you the biggest applause and standing ovation
Thank
possible.
you. Thank
So very
you.
much. It was a great webinar. Everyone have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.